Ladies and gentlemen, how we doing? How we doing? We are back with episode 9. I had a week off this past week. We didn't have any fights the weekend before this weekend that just happened that we are just coming off of. So I took a week off because there wasn't really anything to talk about, and that's pretty much what the whole premise of this podcast is. But we do have a lot to talk about this weekend. We had the UFC card, the Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai card. And then the Logan Paul Jake Paul fight. My brain's all over the place. See, when I don't do it for a week, I lose my skills a little bit. I get a little bit rusty. But the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fight, I'm still a little bit rusty, but we're working with it. That fight happened. That was pretty much how I expect that to go. Along with the Ocho Cinco fight. That was actually pretty interesting. I talked about or previewed that on this podcast when that got announced. And then we have UFC 263 this weekend to talk about with Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. So we got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. I guess we're just going to go ahead and dive into right away. The UFC card. The UFC card was not bad. It was okay in the beginning. There was a lot of eye pokes, which is a little bit annoying. Might as well just go. We'll recap the bets and then we'll get into the actual UFC recap. I had my 3 bets. I had the parlay with Mason Jones moneyline and Sean Woodson moneyline. Sean Woodson moneyline hit, and Mason Jones, that fight he was literally beating the snot out of Patrick the whole entire time. It looked like the writing was on the wall. It looked like it was just a matter of time, like before he actually finished Alan Patrick or Patrick, however you want to say it. And if it went to a decision, it was no question that it was Mason Jones' fight. But again, the story of the night was flipping eye pokes, and Patrick got eye poked, and they called the fight off because he said he couldn't see after literally the first eye poke. There were so many fights other than that had the eye pokes, that multiple eye pokes happened, like 3 or 4, maybe not 4, but definitely like 3 eye pokes in one fight, and the people didn't call it off. But I think it was because Patrick was getting the snot beat out of him so flipping bad. Literally in the second round, just decided to call it off, said he couldn't see after 1 eye poke. So that sucks. That went to a no contest because literally Mason Jones was winning that fight. We still won our money because it voided. It didn't count as a loss, I guess, because it was a no contest, but it pretty much got voided. So we just made less money that we would have if the Mason Jones actual leg would have hit, which it would have, but it's just frustrating. That's fighting, things happen. And then my other bet was Mason Jones by finish, KO, TKO, sub, DQ, anything like that. That also was literally like, it looked like he was about to finish him in that first. It looked like writing was on the wall again. Just the fight got pulled because of the eye poke, which was dumb. So we didn't lose any money there. We actually just got our money back. So that I'm not really counting those as losses. We're just acting like that didn't happen because it's just a void. So up 1-0 on the night with the Sean Woodson money line, and then we get into the main event. I had Augusto Sakai money line. That obviously didn't go my way. Sakai got knocked out at the end of the first round. So we're 1-1 on the weekend. Pretty much a scratch, but still we're adding this onto the record. I don't even know exactly what my record is as of right now. I want to say it's maybe 20-5 or somewhere around there on overall fight outcome. So not bad. But we also had I might as well just run through the card real fast and just give my thoughts because there were some good fights, some entertaining fights. Let me go ahead and pull up the prelims if I can, and I'm going to switch myself over. Hopefully I'm a little bit more on top of the switching scenes and everything this time because I'm surprised I remembered that. First fight, upset. Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, I believe is his nickname. He won his last fight, slammed the dude on his head, which was pretty insane. He was a pretty sizable favorite, as you can see, -210 against Claudio Puelles. Puelles won that fight unanimous decision. A lot of people that I follow, because when I make these betting videos, obviously there's a lot of other people that I'll consult with, talk to, see how they feel about certain fights, who they see as like their big underdog to pick. And so a lot of people had Puelles in this fight. As you can see, he won. So there was some good value there at +165. Next fight, Sean Woodson, Yusuf Zalal. Again, I had Sean Woodson money line. He did win. It was a very close fight, but ultimately I think Woodson did win. Zalal didn't really do much outside of shooting for those takedowns, and he got his takedowns stuffed a lot. Woodson did a great job. Woodson's built like the flipping Slenderman. It's so flipping weird looking at that dude fight at 145. I got to pull up a picture of this now because it's just flipping hilarious how flipping goofy looking this dude is. I mean, he's tough. He put on a great fight, but dude is literally built like the Slenderman. Let me see if I can pull up a picture here. You can't, there's not like a good, there you go. You can kind of tell here. Dude's the definition of a lank god. It's my gamer tag too on Xbox. Maybe you guys play Xbox. OG lank god add me. This guy really puts on for the lanky boys. Lanky boy army. Nonetheless, though, keep it rolling. Manon Fiorot and Tabitha Ricci. This fight was I mean, for being a late replacement, pretty much how I'd expect this to go. Ricci plus 375 underdog, minus 360 favorite for Firo. Just put it on her, knocked her out, as you can see. I think that's how you expect something like that to go, especially when you have a dangerous striker like Firo against somebody who is a late replacement, only like 4-0, 5-0, making their UFC debut. This fight, again, when I already talked about this, as you can see, no contest. The eye poke could not continue. Don't know how I feel about that. I think he was just gassed and getting the snot beat out of him. Look for a way out. Another underdog upset, Kamuela Kirk and Makwan Amirkhani. A lot of people were going with Kirk as well. I didn't really know much about Kirk. Didn't really look into it as much either because I just know Makwan's a seasoned UFC guy, so I figured he'd probably find some way to pull out the win. But as you can see, he won. Kirk won unanimous decision. Keep it rolling. Muslim Salikov and Francisco Trinaldo. Great fight, great back and forth fight where we had a lot of eye pokes, and Salikov continued. He got eye poked like 2 or 3 times in a row. Continued, won that fight. It was pretty good. It was back and forth here and there, but I think Salikov was landing the more effective shots. Alir Latifi, Tanner Bosser, I didn't see this fight. I know a lot of people were saying it was kind of a robbery of like a shaky split decision. Bosser was a pretty sizable favorite. Lost a split decision. I really didn't see much of this fight. But I don't know. If you guys saw this fight and you guys have your opinions, I'm curious to hear what you guys think, because I really didn't see much of this, and I have heard people complain about it. But it did seem like if you are Alir Latifi, your only route to victory is just try to take him down and get the control time, just kind of smother him with strikes. And I think that might have been the story of the fight, but again, I didn't really see it. I just know that he was landing some takedowns here and there, and that could be effective in the judges' eyes. Keeping it rolling, Montana De La Rosa and Irian Lipski. I don't know why they don't have the fight outcome, but I'm pretty sure I'm almost certain. I am certain Montana De La Rosa finished Lipski with some ground and pound. Minus 305, again, very sizable favorite. Not really worth betting on that. And then another underdog. This is another one that I was seeing a lot of people talk about. Again, I don't try to. I saw like almost every underdog that won on here. I saw a lot of people online talking about these people as underdogs to pick, and a lot of underdogs won this weekend. There's a lot of great underdog value, but I don't want to be. I'm not one to steal people's bets, and I'm not just gonna take someone else's bets and just throw them on my video and kind of call them as my own. There was a bunch of underdogs, like all these underdogs that you see here. Almost everybody I saw was calling this. Even the next one, Ponzinibbio. But it was pretty crazy the amount of underdogs that actually won this weekend. I don't know. It kind of makes me upset because I knew about some of these and I didn't put money on them. But it is what it is. There's fights every single weekend, so there's obviously more opportunities to make money. Gregory Rodriguez plus 120, won unanimous decision. Keeping it rolling, Ponzinibbio and Beza. This was a fantastic fight, probably the best fight of the night. I'm not even sure if this won fight of the night. I would honestly hope it did because this was a phenomenal fight back and forth. Miguel Beza was the guy they were trying to build up as like a big prospect, upcoming guy. People were saying he could be a champion in the future. He's got some vicious leg kicks. He throws bombs too, but I think he was just putting himself in the fire a little bit too much, and then he was starting to get walked down by Ponzinibbio. And once he started to get overwhelmed, and I don't think he expected that fight to go the full distance. It looked like he started to gas out. And someone like Beza, who has a 100% finish rate now, he's gone a full 5-minute rounds, 15 minutes. He might have been a little bit shocked, and he probably wasn't expecting to do that, so that could be why he gassed out. Ponzinibbio, again, a guy, UFC vet, very experienced. I think he's got a record of like 29-4 now, which is pretty solid. I was looking at his record of like people he's fought. He hasn't fought many people that I'm like, oh, that's like I don't know why I'm typing in Sean Woodson. Who am I looking up? Santiago Ponzinibbio. There's not many people that like pop out to me on his record of people he's beat that I'm like, oh wow, those are solid wins outside of like Neil Magny and maybe Gunnar Nelson. But he looks to be like pretty solid. I mean I've seen him fight before, but he hasn't fought for a while. Like his last fight was like his first fight in like 2 years. Ponzinibbio did look good, and I think he really is a dark horse. I'm almost certain he's like 29-4 because that's what they showed on the UFC, but it says 28-4 right here. Beat Neil Magny, beat Mike Perry, but a lot of people beat Mike Perry. He's just Mike Perry. I don't think is all in right now in fighting. Beat Gunnar Nelson. I don't know who Nordine Taleb is. I've heard the name, but I don't know who he is. Zach Cummins again. I know the name, but again, not somebody I'm like, wow, you beat Zach Cummins. Court McGee, another dude. He's tough, but I'm not like, wow, you beat Court McGee. There are some tough people. Lost to Lorenz Larkin. He beat Sean Strickland though. I will give him props there. That's a pretty solid win. Sean Strickland's a stud right now. He's been on a tear. But yeah, Ponzinibbio could be somebody to look out for. He was ranked at one point in time. I don't know if he's ranked anymore, but I don't think he is. But he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. Roman Dolidze, Laureano Staropoli. A lot of people were saying that Staropoli was a dude to bet on, and as an underdog, he was one of the underdogs that did not hit, but Roman Dolidze, minus 150 favorite, got the win. Excuse me. And then Walt Harris, Marcin Tybura. Walt Harris looked good in the beginning. He was putting it on. Tybura was swarming him with punches, and looked like there for a second that he was going to put Tybura away. I actually almost replaced Mason Jones with Tybura. I almost did Sean Woodson, Mason Jones for my betting video. I'm glad I didn't, because I was a little bit nervous, because Walt Harris is a dude that's very, very dangerous in that first round. And then after the first round, it's just like he just gasses. And I think he threw that one kick, and once Tybura caught that kick, it was the beginning of the end. Tybura just very skilled. He seems to be somebody to look out for as well. I mean, he's starting to put it all together in terms of mixed martial arts. He did look pretty solid. And then the main event, Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai. As you can see, it's literally like the reverse of the Overeem fight for Rozenstruik. It was like the very end of the 5th round, I believe, when he knocked out Overeem with just that one pop punch. Literally hit him with that one punch, and everything, his face exploded and was covered in blood. Same thing with this. He had him up against the fence, was walking him down, clipped him with that one punch. Actually, there was a couple punches, but the one punch that put him away hit him like right here. Just split his forehead open, just sat him down. It's crazy the power that Rozenstruik generates, and literally with 1 second left in the first round, pretty awesome. Again, though, betting recap wasn't all that great. We went 1-1 overall on the weekend. If you void the other ones, but I really should be 3-1 for overall, because I mean, unless some crazy thing happened where Patrick pulled out something out of his, I don't know. I just didn't see that Patrick. I didn't see him beating Mason Jones in that fight from what we saw for that fight, but it is what it is. Also, before we preview UFC 263, might as well talk about the fights that happened last night. Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about the Ocho Cinco fight. Ocho Cinco really impressed me. I'm not going to lie, there are definitely some things. If you're Chad Ocho Cinco, you got to tighten up if you want to keep boxing and doing things like this. I mean, you look good, though, for someone who had never boxed in his life, never been in a boxing match. I don't know if he's ever been like outside of just like sparring people in the gym, if he's ever really been in like a situation like that. He looked pretty good. He looked like he was moving around. It looked like he was trying to be a little bit showy, but I mean, he's athletic enough. He's light on his feet enough. Sweet feet. You can move around like that. So he did look good on his feet moving around, but there were certain things like whenever he'd get like exchanges in the pocket, or whenever he would pull away or try to circle out, his hands were down a lot. He would pull away with his head, and he'd throw like this with his chin up in the air. So there are certain technical things he would have to tighten up, but honestly, for somebody who's only been boxing, he said he took like 2 months to prepare for that. I honestly believe he had to have been boxing, or at least just training a little bit. Not saying like a lot, like a decent amount, like years, but I mean, he probably a couple months before that had to be messing around, dabbling in boxing. He did look pretty good. He definitely beat Brian Maxwell, Nipsey Hussle, dude. I don't know. I just kept calling him Nipsey Hussle because that's what the dude looked like. But he looked pretty well for somebody who had fight experience, who had 3 professional fights before, I believe. At least 3 fights I know of that they talked about. He never won any of those fights. I think he also lost his fight against Chad Ochocinco, which is a little bit embarrassing, honestly. Again, I think that dude, I said it in my other video, my reaction to the fights last night, I think Maxwell should probably think about maybe a different career path, because dude, you're getting beat by you've been doing this for a while. You've had other fights before. Even though you lost, that's a valuable experience that Ochocinco doesn't have, and you still got beat by a dude. It took 2 months. Sorry, I didn't mean to move the camera. By a dude that got beat, that literally only had like 2 months to prepare for that. Couple months at most to prepare against a dude who's been fighting for a while. So that was a little bit I don't know. It was just weird, but I don't know. I don't want to dog on Maxwell. Like, I've been doing it a lot, but he's got more balls than me. He's stepping in the ring. But that was a pretty good fight. Maxwell did clip him too. He dropped Ochocinco on his face, and he could have put him away. If he would have swarmed him, Ochocinco wasn't right when he got up. He probably could have swarmed him, just went crazy, and probably clipped him with something again and put him away. But I just don't think he knew what was going on. Didn't know the extent to what Ochocinco was hurt. And then after that, what was the fight after that? The Jarrett Hurd and I forget the other fellow's name, Arias. That was a fantastic fight because Arias was on a 3-fight losing skid, and Hurt was literally like, he kept saying number 1. Arias kept saying he was the number 1 dude, and the announcers were saying he was number 3. Regardless, the dude was ranked in the top 3 in the middleweight division. and the other dude, Arias, was pretty much probably brought in to be just a sacrificial lamb to lose. And I honestly didn't think that Hurd probably didn't even believe that he was going to lose. He probably just went in overconfident. And Arias just brought it to him the whole entire fight. It looked like for a second Arias was starting to gas, but he just stayed. He stayed in Hurd's face the whole entire time. Did not go anywhere. He looked phenomenal. I mean, for somebody who was 0-3, he said people were telling him that he needed to find a different career path instead of boxing, things like that. He looked pretty solid. And he brought the fight to Hurd, and I think, props to him. I don't really agree with Hurd, and I don't even agree with the split decision afterwards, where it was a split decision, and I really don't agree with how Hurd kind of handled himself afterwards, because, like, he was like, I don't know if that's really how it scored. That he thought he won the fight, which was kind of crazy. I don't know. He just wouldn't let it go, but it was kind of weird. It kind of reminded me of, like, Lomachenko after he lost to Teofimo Lopez. It just didn't seem like he wanted to accept that, and it was like, you clearly got beat, dude. I don't know, it was a little bit weird, but that was probably my favorite fight of the night. That was a fantastic fight. And then after that, we had the Badu Jack fight against Colina. I don't remember what the fellow's first name was, but that Colina dude was way out of shape. That dude was a sacrificial lamb. That guy was literally brought in to be a sacrificial lamb. Got dropped over and over again with those body shots. And that fight ended in like 3 or 4 rounds. I really wasn't even paying attention during that fight. I was actually editing my video to get me caught up for the main event. So that was like a pretty boring fight. And I'm pretty sure Badu Jack was like a massive favorite, like probably even a bigger favorite than Floyd was over Logan, so if that tells you anything. And then the main event, Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather. I thought, that's how it went. It's crazy they can build up, because I know in my head when I'm thinking logically, I'm like, there's no way Floyd Mayweather loses. If the best boxers on the planet that Floyd fought that were just as fast as him, could do anything probably close to just as well as Floyd on a professional level, I guess, versus someone like Logan, who's a YouTuber, who's only been doing this for like 2-3 years. Somehow the marketing, however people were selling the fight, they actually made it seem like Logan had a chance. They made me believe Logan actually had a chance. I was believing there for a second, like, oh, Logan actually could have a chance, and that made the fight very interesting. Like, when the fight started, I was nervous. My hands were sweaty. I would be honest. I was very into it, and I was thinking that there was a chance that Logan could win. And then we watched the fight go on. I'm like, yeah, this is what happens when one of the greatest, if not the greatest boxers of all time, fights an average person. And Logan Paul is way better than your average person in terms of boxing and fighting. But if we're talking about being a boxer, he's average at best. He's not on the same level as any cruiserweights or anything like that. Anybody in a professional level, even like you could just take a local Golden Gloves champion from somewhere in the United States, they'd probably piece up Logan Paul. So I think in terms of like an overall boxing skill level, if you're grading him, he's average at best. And it's just crazy that I was believing. Even the people I was talking to about the fight, people I was watching the fight with, that we actually kind of believed that Logan had a chance. But then when you see things carry on, I think that same feeling or way they make you feel and think about the fights could be similar to the Tyron Woodley fight, because I think with the people that Jake Paul has beat, he beat Ben Askren, but Ben Askren has 0 hands, literally the worst hands in modern MMA history, the worst, terrible hands, and we believe that we thought that Ben had a chance, or I believe that Ben had a chance until he got knocked out. And then it's kind of what you expect. And then you kind of get blinded by the fact that he knocked out a dude with 0 hands, and then he knocked out an NBA player, and then he knocked out a YouTuber. And then we're thinking that all of a sudden he's going to knock out a 5-time UFC champion, considered one of the best welterweights of all time. I think we're kind of getting a little bit blinded with the fact that, I guess, the pizzazz, the marketing, all that stuff. And I think that could be a little bit of what we're going to see with the Floyd or the Tyron Woodley fight. I really hope Tyron Woodley just goes out there, dominates, knocks Jake Paul out. I think that's what could happen. I really think a lot of people are getting the same theory that I'm talking about the Logan Paul fight, thinking that Logan actually has a chance. I think we're starting to get a little bit blinded, a little bit cloudy in the brain, where we think that there is a slight chance that Jake could win. I really think we're thinking logically. I don't know. These dudes can box, and boxing is a lot different than MMA. And Floyd actually is a boxer, and a very, 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 very good boxer at that. And being a very, very good MMA fighter, going to boxing is a little bit different. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm still going with Tyron Woodley in that fight. Someone in the chat saying Floyd carried Paul from round 4, and I do agree, because I think it was clear that Logan was gassing after the 4th round. He was completely done. Even after that second round, after he threw that flurry and the second round started, Logan was noticeably a lot more sweatier, and it looked a lot more labored in his movement. And then the third round, definitely, he was very much slowing down once when the hugging started. And the fourth round, he was gassed. And I think, I do agree, I do think that Floyd probably could have put him away at any point in time. If Floyd really, really, really tried turning it on him, just mixing up everything to the head, body, just throwing fast, being in his face the whole entire time, not giving him a break, I really think that Floyd actually, he was playing with his food. That's really what he was doing. Floyd was just playing with his food. He was having a good time. He was just trying to have fun. And I don't blame him. He's probably just trying to milk it out, drag it out so he can get the most pay-per-view time, get that money. And I understand, it's Floyd Money Mayweather. But, I mean, that's kind of how I expect it to go. Floyd Mayweather just looked like one of the greatest boxers of all time fighting a YouTuber, and that's pretty much what you saw. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this weekend in terms of recapping this weekend. I don't really think I have much else to talk about. We do have the Ultimate Fighter to talk about. That's going to be tomorrow, Tuesday at 9 p.m. We had the first episode last Tuesday. And to be honest, I don't know if you guys watched my Ultimate Fighter video. If you guys have not watched my Ultimate Fighter video, please go ahead and check that out. It's a pretty good video, and I think I'm going to start doing it for every single episode of the Ultimate Fighter to kind of talk about it, recap. I might even do like a live show where I watch along with the like the actual episode, and we can talk about it in the chat like as it's premiering live. But I'm really, like, I never watched the Ultimate Fighter. I'd seen episodes, I'd seen clips here and there, but I never watched it episode for episode through the entirety of the season, like really being hooked. And I can tell after watching the first episode of this season, I'm definitely going to be hooked. I just never really gave it the time to, like, get interested and get hooked. But I can definitely tell that I'm probably going to be hooked, and I'm probably going to watch every single episode this season. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to make videos for all these. But I really think I was breaking down the first fight that happened. I think that's how I expected that to go with Andre winning. It just seemed like there was a clear intensity difference. And it didn't seem like, when Aaron said that he learned most of his skills off of YouTube, I was like, okay, you're facing a dude who's an NCAA wrestler. I don't know exactly. I think he was a D1 wrestler, like a very high caliber wrestler. And you're going up, you're using your skills you've learned off YouTube and refined by gyms in Alaska. And again, we can get into the whole Alaska thing, fighters from Alaska. If you check out my other video, if you heard me talk about it in podcasts, that's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into that. But I just think there was a clear experience and skill difference, and that's what you saw. And then the next fight that we have this weekend, the Ludovic and Mitch Raposo fight, I think that's going to be a very interesting fight. I think experience-wise, I'm leaning towards Ludovic. I think if we're talking about who fought the tougher competition, I think Ludovic, he seems to be a little bit less technically sound, like in terms of, like, he doesn't move his head that much, and his defensive instincts aren't all that great. He does look like he has, like, some relentless grappling, but with a name like Ludovic or whatever, like some Russian name, I'm going to expect you to have some relentless grappling. It looks like he does have some, like, very good wrestling. Raposo is 22. He's a young guy. He's been brought up a little bit slower. If you look at his record, again, you can check all this stuff out in the Ultimate Fighter video. He's been brought up. He's been fighting cans, and I watched some of his highlights. He moves around like Michael Chandler, that wide guard, bounce around, try to walk you around the center of the octagon or the cage, and try to cut you off with some power, kind of like how Chandler did to Hooker. He does move like that. He looks like when he moves, he's a little bit better, but I think he's going to be a little bit more raw. Again, he's fought cans, so he might have better confidence, but the record of his opponents is, like, horrible. Like, it's way negative. I think there was a dude that he fought was literally like 0-13. I'm not even kidding. And then another fight that I watched, it was a first-round knockout, was clearly an early stoppage, and all the promotions he's fighting in are all, like, East Coast promotions. He's from the East Coast, so I think he might be getting brought up a little bit slow, which could be a good thing in terms of confidence. He might be really confident, which could help him, but it could also be a bad thing because you don't have the experience where someone like Ludovic, who has way more fights, he's fought fighters that are in the UFC now, versus a dude who's not even fought somebody with a winning record. I think that could be I'm ultimately leaning towards Ludovic. Before I did any research, I was going to say 100% Ludovic, and then I watched Raposo a little bit. Raposo looks a little bit better when you watch him, but you also have to consider who he's fighting against to really gauge it. So I'm ultimately going with Ludovic for this next episode. If we're talking about my overall Ultimate Fighter, return to Ultimate Fighter, let me know what season this is, 29, 28, somewhere, it's high 20s. My overall winner, I don't know about the bantamweights, but my overall winner for the middleweights, or just the one person I think is a lock to win, Tresean Gore. If you watch any of his interviews, anything they had on YouTube, on ESPN, there's a lot of stuff on him. His story, everything's great. If you watch his highlights, him hit pads, the dude's a flippin' athletic freak. He's built like a flippin' animal. The dude, like, he has insane power. And I just think we're like his story and everything. We talked about like sleeping in his car when it's like 20 degrees outside and the window doesn't roll up all the way because he doesn't have any money to sleep anywhere else. I think those kind of things, when you grow up through that and you have that kind of struggle. Again, I said this Ultimate Fighter video. It's people like Mike Tyson says that fighting comes from the gutter. It comes from struggle. It comes from like places like that. Versus someone like who's been brought like just grew up a more comfortable life than sleeping in a car in 20-degree weather where the window doesn't roll up all the way. You definitely have a little bit a hotter fire burning under your butt or something like that, where you're like, I need to get out of this. I need to change the situation up, because you're less I don't know. I don't know. I feel like your environment kind of forces you in that direction, because you feel like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't, I need to better myself, or I need to better my life. And I think that kind of coming from that is going to help Tresean a lot. I really like Tresean. I think that's my winner or my pick to win the Ultimate Fighter. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch over, keeping it rolling with the UFC talk. We got UFC 263 this weekend. Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori for the middleweight championship, along with the Moreno and Figueiredo the fight championship flyweight fight. And then the Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards 5-round fight. Starting off, very first fight of the night. That's why I had Jake Collier earlier on my search, if you guys were wondering. Jake Collier, Carlos Felipe. I had to look up, because Collier is like a dude that he's fought at middleweight and just like, he might have even fought at welterweight and just said, screw it, I'm letting my body go, and just like got really fat and now fights at heavyweight. Probably going to go with Felipe, simply because I just feel like that's a lazy approach to just fight, where you're fighting at middleweight and then you literally almost gain 100 pounds because you decide you don't want to cut weight anymore. That's kind of a lazy approach, and I feel like that kind of could bleed into all aspects of fighting. And I don't know. I just don't think, if you're talking about long-term being a successful fighter, that's not a good approach at all. So I'm ultimately going to go with Carlos Felipe. I don't know. I'm being a little bit harsh on that. But Faris Ziam and Luigi Verdurami, I don't know much about either of these two fighters. I don't think I've seen either of these two fighters fight. Luigi sounds Italian, though. I'm guessing they probably got some Italian guys on this card, because Vittori's fighting in the main event for the championship. Again, I'm Italian. I don't know if you guys know. I got the Italian flag right there. Got the Ferrari over. You guys see it. So I'm going to go with the Italian guy. But I don't know anything about these fighters. There's no research being done. This is 1,000% me looking at these, basing it off their faces and their names and what I know about these guys. Chase Hooper, Steven Peterson. I'm going to go with my boy Chase Hooper. He's my age. We're a jiu-jitsu guy too at that. I really think, though, that he needs to... I hope this dude's a can. The other dude, Peter Barrett, I don't want to say he's a trash can. He's a tough dude. He was beating the snot out of Chase Hooper the whole entire fight. But I don't think, ultimately, in my opinion, I don't think Peter Barrett's a UFC caliber fighter. Like, he was getting the snot beat out of him. He got pieced up by Yusuf Zalal, and we saw Yusuf Zalal in a very close fight. Now Yusuf Zalal is on a 3-fight losing skid. He was actually the last person that Zalal beat, Peter Barrett. And Chase Hooper was getting beat up by him, and then ultimately caught him with the heel hook. Hooper won that fight. So I really hope Steven Peterson's a dude like that, who's like not really all that great, just like someone they bring up off the regional scene. So Hooper can get more fight experience and kind of build up his confidence. But you don't need to be throwing him to the wolves right away, because his stand-up is not there. Like, when you watch Chase Hooper fight, his jiu-jitsu is off the charts. His jiu-jitsu is what backpacks him and makes him like competitive in the UFC, because like it doesn't matter what point in the fight is, he could be getting the snot beat out of him, and if he gets his hands on you, you're pretty much SOL. That's literally what you saw in the Peter Barrett fight. He just rolled in for that leg, and as soon as he held onto that leg, he was done. It was toast for Peter Barrett. I think if this dude's just and Hooper can get his hands on him, I think it's Hooper all day. I'm gonna go with Hooper, jiu-jitsu guy my age. I want to see him win. Hopefully, I just think he needs to build up his confidence, but I also think he probably needs to take, I would just take a year off and just focus on solely building up your skills, get better, focus on striking. Obviously, keep trying to improve on jiu-jitsu, even though it's by far your strong suit. You don't want to focus so much on your striking where you get away from what you're good at, because I do believe in diminishing skills. Like, you could focus so much on one thing, and Joe Rogan even talked about this in the Volkanovski Craig Jones podcast. There is such thing as diminishing skills, where you focus so much on striking where your grappling goes down, because martial arts is a constant thing where it's constantly leveling up. There's constant new additions all the time. So you have to constantly even though you're really good at wrestling, you have to constantly be trying to get better at jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all that stuff. I don't know why I said wrestling. But grappling overall, because the sport's going to keep moving forward, accelerating. You have to keep up with that. But Hooper's young too. He can afford to take a year off. He's my age. He's 21. You could take a year off and come back at 23. John Jones won the belt at 23, which is insanely young. I'm not saying Chase Hooper's going to win the belt at 23, but I'm saying
starting your career at 23 is not that bad. And he's not even really starting his career at 23. He's just taking time off and then kind of having a resurgence. I think that would be the smart thing to do if you're Chase Hooper. Take some time off, take a year off, and just get better. How's it going from Germany? Hallo, sprichst du Deutsch? Ich spreche kleine Deutsch. I took German in high school. I know a little bit. But I'm trying to think of some German stuff to say. I don't know anything about fighting in German, though. I don't know. My name in German, hallo, ich heiße Nicola. Das ist meine, I don't know, man. My YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I'm struggling. I'm like 4 years removed from high school, so I'm a little bit rusty. But I do speak German. Hello from Germany. But I don't know. Ultimately going with Chase Hooper. Keeping it rolling. Frank Camacho, Matt Frevola. Both kind of just seasoned UFC guys. I'm probably going to lean towards Matt Frevola. He's just a tough guy. And I think Frevola actually is Italian or has some Italian heritage. So I'm going to go with him. But I really don't know. No research. Pannie Kianzad and Alexis Davis. I don't know. I've talked about it all the time from like in my other videos where I say like the underdogs in these women's fights are actually probably worth putting money on because it's kind of a poop shoot. Kianzad is ranked number 11. I don't know much about Davis. I'm probably going to lean towards Kianzad. I hope I'm saying that right. I have seen her fight before, but I really don't know much about these fights. Again, this is just sehr gut. Okay, very good. I think, isn't that very good? I'm a little bit rusty. Actually, I'm very rusty, but I probably speak more German than your average American who only speaks one language. Masvar Evelev versus, this is actually a very good fight, Hakeem Dawodu. I think Evelev is probably going to win this. He's another one of those just Russian dudes. It's flipping relentless. He's very good. And Dawodu's very tough. He's got power. But I just think if Evelev can just grind him out, wear him out, make him tired, I really believe that Evelev probably has this in the bag. So I'm going to go with Evelev, but this actually is a very good fight. This is a banger fight. To be on the prelims, that's insane. This whole prelims is actually pretty stacked. Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood. I'm probably going to go with Lauren Murphy. I like Lauren Murphy. She's got a cool story and tough fighter. But this is an interesting fight. Calderwood actually had a shot at fighting Shevchenko and blew it because she wanted to keep active and keep fighting and actually end up getting beat by now I'm drawing a blank on who she got beat by. But I don't even remember. But she was fighting someone because the title fight got delayed, and then she ended up losing her position. And I think ultimately Lauren Murphy's probably just going to grind her out and beat her. Eric Anders, Darren Stewart, great fight. Probably going to go with Darren Stewart. Eric Anders is a tough dude, but I think he's one of those guys that just, I don't know. He's good, he's well-rounded, but he doesn't do anything, one specific thing very well. Darren Stewart, I think he's tougher, a little bit more well-rounded. I'm going to be leaning towards Darren Stewart. Who is your favorite UFC fighter though? My friend from Deutschland, meine Freund. God, I don't know. It probably sounds awful because I don't think meine Freund, that's probably it. Mein Freund, not meine. Mein Freund aus Deutschland. Who's your favorite UFC fighter? And I know there is some good UFC fighters from Peter Sabata. I can't think off the top of my head. Sabata's one of them that sticks out to me, but there is the Nasrat Hakparas. I think he has a German flag or he represents Germany. But there are some good German fighters. I'm interested to hear who your favorite is. It doesn't even have to be a German fighter. But overall, who's your favorite fighter? And keep it rolling. The featured bout on the prelims, Drew Dober, Brad Riddell. This is a very, very good fight. Dober's coming off that loss against Islam Makhachev. Brad Riddell is one of the city kickboxing guys, trains with Israel Adesanya. Very tough dude, great kickboxing, got some decent wrestling as well. Both very tough dudes. I'm telling you right now, this right here is fight of the night potential. The Drew Dober-Riddell fight. This, I guarantee you, will be fight of the night. If not, it's going to be a banger. Somebody's going to get finished. It's not going to be a snooze fest. This fight's going to be... I want to see Riddell win because Riddell's very tough. He's well-rounded, but he has been in some very close fights against dudes that aren't on Drew Dober's skill level, in my opinion. He's, I think, had some split decisions here and there. He's only had like 3 or 4 fights in the UFC, but I think... He's been a little bit shaky. He's been in some wars against guys he probably shouldn't need. He doesn't need to be in wars in with. ultimately, I'm probably going to lean towards Drew Dober. Drew Dober, we were talking about Nasrat Haqparast. He knocked out Nasrat. Nasrat's a pretty tough dude. He's fought very tough dudes. He's been around the UFC forever. I want to look at the people that Drew Dober's fought, because Drew Dober, he's fought some pretty tough dudes, and he's been around forever in the lightweight division. Let's go ahead and see. He's 23 or 25, 23-10. Where's his record at? Fought Islam Makhachev, beat Alexander Hernandez, beat Nasrat, beat Polo Reyes. I don't really know who Polo Reyes is. Lost to Beneil Dariush. He's fought some tough dudes. I mean, he's fought and he's beat some tough dudes as well. He's fought like dudes that are high ranked lightweights. I'm probably gonna lean towards Drew Dober in this fight. I really like Riddell, but I think experience and skill wise, durability, I'm probably gonna lean towards Drew Dober. But again. Actually, no, yeah, he had a split decision. I don't think he's lost to, he hasn't lost in the UFC. He's only lost one fight, and that was 2018. But I think, some of these fights were, like the Magomed fight. Magomed's very tough, but I think that was a close fight. I actually think that he might have lost that fight. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I think just some of these fights where it's because if you look at the people he's beat, Rafael Fiziev is phenomenal Muay Thai. Fiziev is very fun to watch. He does that matrix stuff where he just pulls back, leg or the kick just barely grazes by his face. I don't know. I think this is gonna be a banger fight though. Riddell and Dober is gonna be a great fight. Gonna be leaning towards Dober. I'm kind of rambling on a lot of these fights too. So if I'm rambling, you guys gotta tell me to keep it rolling. Paul Craig, Jamal Hill, gonna go with Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill by KO. Craig's best shot is to get his hands on you and try to choke you. If the fight goes to the ground, Craig all day. Stays on the feet, Hill can stuff the takedowns. It's Hill all day. He'll probably knock him out. Bilal Muhammad, Damian Maia. I'm actually going to I'm gonna go with Damian Maia. Damian Maia is old as flipping dirt. But his jiu-jitsu is out of this world. It's insane. For him to be a plus 200 underdog is actually kind of crazy. Value-wise, that's actually probably something worth betting, because Muhammad, he's one of those dudes that can grind you out. He can just puts a pace on you and can grind you out. But I really believe that Maia actually, if he gets his hands on him, and Muhammad does like to grapple a little bit, he likes to wrestle. I don't think he's going to do it against Maia. He's probably going to try to keep it standing. But I actually really like Maia in this fight. I think Maia, if he gets his hands on Bilal Muhammad's SOL, it's Maia all day. But that's actually a very interesting fight. It's interesting that he's a plus 200 underdog. There's some good value there if you guys are betting. And then Leon Edwards, a minus 500 favorite against Nate Diaz. But it is a 5-round fight. That's worth noting. Nate Diaz is incredibly durable. If we're looking back at Diaz's last fight against Jorge Masvidal, it seemed like a matter of time before Masvidal actually probably was going to put Diaz away. It looked like Diaz was starting to maybe turn on a little bit. But I think overall, Masvidal probably would have hung in there. Masvidal's got good enough cardio to hang in there with Diaz. And I think just technical striking, if we're talking about overall technical striking and just overall ability, and Masvidal's not even, if we're talking about being a very good welterweight, Masvidal's not even really that. I mean, he's a good welterweight, but he got dominated by Kamaru Usman and then got knocked out cold by Kamaru Usman in the second round, which is insane to say that Kamaru Usman starched, he did starch him. He didn't stiffen him up, but he put him out cold. That's pretty insane to say for Kamaru Usman because he's not known for that kind of stuff. But Masvidal did put it on Nate Diaz, and I'm a big Nate Diaz guy. I don't know. I really think Edwards has that same technical, sharp striking, precise, powerful, where he can tag up Diaz. But Diaz is durable enough. If he can just keep drawing those attacks out of Edwards and get Edwards tired. Edwards hasn't been in a 5-round fight, I don't believe. And he hasn't fought very much. He's had that one fight with Muhammad that went like 2 rounds. Other than that, he hasn't fought in like 2 or 3 years. He could be a little bit rusty if it goes into later rounds. It'll be interesting. It is a 5-round fight. Diaz is a cardio machine, and if he notices there's the slightest bit of just decline or just slight bit he just takes off the gas a little bit. If Edwards takes off the gas a little bit against Nate Diaz, that's when Nate Diaz is gonna jump on him. Then he's just gonna pour it on. Ultimately, though, Edwards should win this. I think if Edwards if he's in good condition and he can just keep putting it on Diaz, try not to go to the ground because Diaz could very well submit him on the ground. It's just the wrestling that I don't know if Diaz has the wrestling in order to get him to the ground or engage something, some sort of ground exchange. Ultimately, Edwards being a minus 500, I think Edwards is going to win. Minus 500 is kind of to me. Like I could see maybe like minus 350, somewhere in the 300 range. Minus 500 is kind of bold, because it is a 5-round fight. But I think Edwards wins this. Figueiredo, Moreno, phenomenal fight. I think Figueiredo is going to make an adjustment, though. I think Figueiredo is one of those guys that he's going to have the rematch. He's going to make a slight adjustment. Has MMA, I do believe MMA has evolved past Diaz's skill. I definitely believe that. I believe Leon Edwards should beat him. I think Diaz's his style, his skill, everything is just like, he's just he has a cardio machine, as we mentioned. He has very good jiu-jitsu. He's just pressure. It's all 100% pressure. But if you look at Diaz's, he doesn't throw a leg kick. Like Diaz, you're never gonna see Nate Diaz throw a high kick. You're not gonna see him chop away. He might throw some leg kicks here and there, but he's not gonna be whacking at your legs, trying to chop down your legs. He's not gonna be throwing body kicks, roundhouses. He might throw it. He does like to throw those little teep kicks, right at the like up the middle, but he's not aiming for your head. He's just more just keeping distance. He's just more just even his boxing doesn't all look like, visually doesn't look that smooth. It's obviously effective. It shouldn't really matter how it looks. It's just effectiveness is what is important. And Diaz is very effective, but when you do have technical, where you're not sharp technically, especially in today's sport, where the sport has kind of evolved a lot more. I think if you're talking about technicality, Nate Diaz is not very technical on the ground. He is. But again, the wrestling to get it to the ground, I think he just relies a lot on his cardio, his pressure, and his jiu-jitsu. Once he gets his hands on you, he's just going to wear you out because he has insane cardio. Just keep punching you, wear you out, make you tired, pitter-pat, and just not let you breathe at all. And then you're going to try to shoot in on him, or something stupid's going to happen. He's going to get you to the ground, and then you're toast. But no, I do think that Diaz's style, the sport's definitely evolved past Diaz's style. But back to the Figueiredo fight, Moreno. I think Figueiredo should make the adjustments. He seems like he's got that skill where he's very well-rounded. He's got phenomenal hands. He's very good on the ground. Moreno's just, again, a tough dude that isn't going to go anywhere. But Moreno's obviously very skilled, but I think overall Figueiredo is more skilled. It doesn't matter where the fight goes. I think overall Figueiredo is more skilled. I think part of it was I think there was some complications. Figueiredo was sick or something the night before the Moreno fight. And I don't know. I think if Figueiredo is 100%, if he comes in this and actually is legitimately 100%, if there was something wrong, if there wasn't something wrong, I'm almost certain that he was in the hospital the night before this fight. So that could mean something. They have him as a minus 250 favorite. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Figueiredo finished Moreno, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finished him fairly fast. I just see Figueiredo as one of those dudes that's probably going to be champ for a while. He seems very dominant. He seems very skilled. He's a big dude for this weight class. I'm going to go with Figueiredo. I'm going to say an under 3.5 rounds finish. Then the main event, Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori. I mentioned earlier I'm Italian. I'm Italian. I rode with the Italian guy earlier, but I cannot ride with Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is just so stinking annoying. I hate saying it because he's the only like good Italian UFC fighter that's like worth watching. I mean, outside of him, I don't really know who else. The Di Chicarico dude, I can't think of his name, that knocked out Joaquin Buckley. Those are like the only two guys I think of. But Marvin Vettori is by far the best Italian fighter, and he's just so flippin' annoying because all he does is whine, complain, like, I won this fight. You didn't win this fight, dude. Or you talk about like how nobody wants to fight you. You're fighting for the title, but you still talk about how nobody wants to fight you. He does like the similar to what the Colby Covington thing is, where it's just like he tries to make it seem like everybody's ducking him, and it's just, I don't know. He's good. He is good. He's very good. He doesn't do it to the same level as Colby. He's very, 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 very mild in terms of Colby, but he's just annoying. It's just like, dude, just keep winning fights. That's what you're doing. Just keep winning fights, and eventually you'll get that title shot. Just stop saying your reason to get a title shot is because you, in your eyes, beat Israel Adesanya in a flipping in a close fight. You didn't beat him. If you go back and watch this fight, anybody with a brain will tell you didn't beat him. I don't know. I'm going with Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is saying he's going to finish Marvin Vettori, and I think when Izzy says that kind of stuff, he usually backs it up. He said this about Paulo Costa. He said about a lot of other people, Derek Brunson. He didn't say anything about the Blachowicz fight, which was interesting. He knew what kind of challenges it was going to be, but it was I don't know. It was I think ultimately that fight was just it was the size difference that played the big role, because I think on the feet it was anybody's fight. I think Blachowicz was able to hold his own because of the size advantage, but it will be it'll be interesting. I think Adesanya should have this in the bag because Vettori does kind of have a very pressure heavy style where he's got boxing and he just gets in your face and then he pressures you and then shoots for a takedown, holds you down, beats you up on the ground. I think Adesanya, if he's going against a dude similar size, they're fighting at 185, he should be able to stuff a lot of the takedowns, hold his own. I mean, if you look at the last fight too, the only takedown that Adesanya got, he said he corrected the reason why, why he even got taken down in the first place. And Vettori didn't really take him down all that much to begin with. I think ultimately Adesanya's got this. He should have this in the bag. He says he's gonna finish him. And Adesanya, I'd said this, like Adesanya kind of reminds me of like a Muhammad Ali type character. He's brash, he's confident, he says what he says, and he usually backs it up. And he's just, I don't know, he's good. He's just as good as as much as he talks. He's just that good. I even had somebody else. I made my tier list video, my UFC champion tier list. I'm gonna go over actually and check that out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. I had somebody tell me that that they don't think that Adesanya is a top tier fighter. They think Adesanya is overrated. I'm gonna go ahead and find that comment. I got people in the comments. Rocky Balboa is a great Italian fighter. I got Rocky Balboa. I have where's it at? I got the Rocky belt up there, if you can see it. Got my Rocky prop belt up there. Then I got my Rocky quote up there. Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa is one of the great Italian fighters, that's for sure. It's too bad that it was a movie, but if you do watch that, let's see here. Oh God, hopefully you guys don't see how much money I make off my videos. No, I don't make any money, guys. Not yet. If you guys subscribe, show love, keep watching, like these videos, and just keep showing up. Hopefully I will get there. I'm gonna keep grinding to the point where I get there. But no, yeah, there's not much to be seen in terms of how much money I make. If this ever loads. But some dude was telling me it's really not that big of a deal. I'm gonna just go back to this screen until this actually loads, and then maybe we'll see if I can pull this comment up. You know, I might as well just go to my actual channel. It'd probably be faster than trying to dig out the comments. But yeah, no, it's funny because there's a lot of people that still don't believe that Adesanya is that good, which is weird to me. He's 20-1. His only loss was when he went up to light heavyweight, he fought a dude that was like 25 pounds heavier than him, and it went the full 25. You have an old Germany flag? Nah, I don't. Wait, is the Italian flag an old Germany flag? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that, but I actually think I might have, actually, I don't know. I don't think I have anything German in here. I do have I actually might be able to find some of my German textbooks. I have like a German to English dictionary too from class, but, no, I don't have, I do actually have some German in me though. I did one of those DNA tests, and I'm like 7% Germanic Europe. So 7% of me might be somehow distantly related to you. Let's go ahead. I'm trying to pull up this comment, though, because I want to know what this guy said. The dude said that Adesanya was not good, and I'm curious to see what the actual the comment was. He didn't think that Adesanya is a top-tier fighter, which I didn't even respond to him, because I was like, I don't know, man. You need to put the crack pipe down, because if you don't think Adesanya is that good as he is, as much as he talks, I don't know. But, yeah, that's pretty much, oh, here it is. All right, Francis is definitely not top tier. If we're going to base it off skill, he lost to Stipe and Lewis, and he's 50-50. He said his next fight is 50-50. I don't know what that means if he's talking about the Derek Lewis fight. Okay, I could definitely agree that Francis, if we're talking about skill-wise, is a top tier based on most of his fights. But if we look at the last fight that he had against Stipe, he looked a lot more technically. He just looked like he was more patient. He had more tactics. I don't know. I could agree with that. We'll go with that. Maybe Francis isn't top tier, but I think if we're talking about popularity, knockout power, and who people want to see Francis. And that's what I said I was basing off popularity and skill. And then Izzy's not top tier. Kamaru and Rose are definitely top tier. And all that matters is they're all trash, and Bones would take them all out. I don't know about the Francis fight. Francis and Bones is a tough fight. But the fact that you think Izzy's not top tier is a little bit crazy. I hope you're not watching Noah Timmy, because you are kind of getting blasted right now. But maybe I'd go back and watch some Adesanya fights and tell me Adesanya's not top tier. Watch him against Paulo Costa. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section, the people that are watching this, is Adesanya top tier or am I nuts? I definitely believe Adesanya's top tier. He's like in the same category as Usman, as any of the top fighters. John Jones, even though John Jones isn't like a champion right now, he's in that category. You can't say he's not in that category. If they're talking about him fighting John Jones, he's in that category. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. I'm probably gonna wrap up this episode. We're looking at one of my longest episodes yet. 10 minutes shy of an hour. I'm running out. I could probably try to talk German for 10 minutes. But that would be a struggle, and I think I might just end up making SVT. You might just be like, all right, this dude sucks. Nah, but I don't know. That's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, please be sure to drop a like, share this video. If you guys are not subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe. Let me know who you guys got this weekend for the UFC 263 fights. If you guys like Adesanya, if you like Vettori, if you like Figueiredo, Moreno, Diaz, Edwards, I'm curious to see who you guys got. I'm interested. Are you riding with Edwards? Or actually, no, you said you like the Diaz brothers. I don't know. I didn't know if you'd be siding with European fighter, but I really don't know. That's pretty that's probably all I got though for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Auf Wiedersehen. Oh god, Ixzea. I don't know what next is. Vokende? No, that's weekend. I don't know, man. I'm struggling. If you stick around and subscribe, I promise I'll sharpen up on my German for next week, and I'll come back and surprise you. I'll be firing off questions in German, everything like that. Till next time, though, I'm rambling on, guys. I've been rambling a lot today, whatever. See you guys later. I'm gonna keep messing up. Do I stream over BJJ? What do you mean by that? I stream. I used to make jiu-jitsu videos. I'm a jiu-jitsu competitor. I've been training jiu-jitsu for like 3.5 years. And I used to make like strictly jiu-jitsu videos. Now I just kind of get into UFC because I feel like it's a bigger, or MMA in general. I talk about mainly UFC because it's the biggest promotion, but I feel like it's a bigger audience, and I'm a big MMA nerd, UFC guy. So I just feel like that I can make more. I'm more knowledgeable about that than I am jiu-jitsu. I'm a blue belt. I got my belt right here somewhere. I'm actually gonna go to jiu-jitsu later. Yeah, I'm a blue belt, but no, yeah, that's just why I don't know. My name's nicolawood BJJ because I train jiu-jitsu and I used to make jiu-jitsu videos. I occasionally do make jiu-jitsu breakdowns, but I mainly stick to UFC because I feel more knowledgeable about MMA stuff, and I don't feel qualified as a blue belt. I've only been training 3.5 years to make BJJ videos because jiu-jitsu is such a broad thing. It's such an ever-evolving thing, and if you train jiu-jitsu, or if you know, I mean, I'm sure if you watch MMA, you know how difficult jiu-jitsu is. Like, you have to, it takes so much time to get very good at jiu-jitsu. Even 3.5 years, I'm better than a vast majority of your population. If I get into a grappling match with a person off the street, I'm going to work them all day. But if we're talking about someone who knows jiu-jitsu, a purple belt, brown belt, black belt, and then a black belt who's been just got his black belt, a black belt who's been training, who's been a black belt for 5 years, or someone like my coach who's been a black belt for 10 years, people like just lifetime, there's just the levels is insane. So I don't feel qualified to make a jiu-jitsu videos or anything like that. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. I'm gonna keep rambling. We're actually probably about to hit an hour, but no, I hope you guys did enjoy. I will catch you guys next week. I'll see you guys this weekend for the I might do a fight video or a watch party for the UFC 263. I got my betting videos. I'm gonna have a couple other videos. I can't talk. I'm gonna try to do a video with my mom. I maybe have her pick my bets, all my bets for the UFC card this week, and I might have my mom do that. Have her react at some Adesanya highlights. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll definitely see you guys more this week. Till next time, though, I will catch you guys next week.